focus, which is one of Teri's, I think, things that she feels in her heart, is healing the planet. And we're going to hear about Teri's Peace on Earth tour, and of course about angels, which we both are very excited about always. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to focus on simple ways that we can be part of the change we want to see in the world, to just be benefiting everyone and everything around us in the way that we live our lives, basically. So we're going to draw on Teri's focus on angels, energy healing, peace, love, and harmony. I saw that on your website. It was beautiful. She's also going to lead us in a meditation, which undoubtedly will include insights from the angels who light up her life. And I think for many of us, light up our lives. I feel that for sure. As always, I want to thank you for being with us, first of all, and encourage you to share. Speaking of messages, I have to get Restream up here. And please share if you're here, say hello, tell us where you're from, and feel free to share insights with us as we go. I'm going to be watching the Restream for that. So one other thing, the last thing that I do just to get us started, because this is a circle and we're together, not necessarily all at one time, but we are together through time and space. And I always like to start just by breathing. It's such an amazing thing. So if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, that's a really good thing to do too with it. But wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just imagine that you can bring in the love and light from the universe around you as you inhale, just giving yourself the most nurturing, beautiful breath of love and light that you can possibly imagine. And then releasing as you exhale. So with every breath, you just feel clearer. And maybe sense, I sense now, just closing my eyes, the presence of all of the angels and beings around us who are supporting us on our journeys and here in the circle in this moment. And one more breath. And as you do this, you might notice that just with a few beautiful breaths, you feel more present in your body, you feel more balanced, can even feel more centered in that truth that lies in your heart. Just such a simple thing you can do anytime during the day. When is it that you don't have time to stop for a few breaths? So with that, we want to enter this space, the sacred space together. And I want to turn to you, Teri, and ask you to share a bit about your focus on this topic, why it's so important to you and what you're doing.
Good morning, Jane, or afternoon for some people.
Right. May
Hello,
even be evening.
Right. May even be night somewhere.
Right.
And that's the beauty, of just experiencing the different environments and the different places along the way.
Right.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Teri Angel, and I've been on a mission for over 2 years now. It started in September of 2020, and the angels had me just leave where I was, my comfy home, what I called my cave, and go out into the world. And this was in the middle of the pandemic. This was when we were all still in lockdown. And I'm like, well, what do you mean go now? Don't you know what's going on here? I argue with my
right.
And they said, yeah, this is the perfect time, because people need to hear that there's hope, and need to hear that, this isn't the end of the world, that this is just one of those struggles that we're going through as an Earth planet. So I did. I left Florida, which was where I had been residing most of my life. And I've traveled coast to coast several times. I'm now on the West Coast again. I'm in New Mexico at the moment. So as I go along this journey, I talk to people and I ask questions. What do you think peace is? What does it look like? What would our planet look like? Our world that we live in? if everybody respected and honored each other and honored our land that we live on as we walk on Mother Gaia's back. I call her Mama Gaia. I just like to have things very personal. And so I talk to people about that, Jane, and I say, what would that look like to you? What would it mean to actually have peace on earth? We all say we want peace, right? Well, not all. There are some who really want
Some
it,
of us, right?
but I know. But if you want peace on earth, what does that even look like? Can you just imagine it? And so I have people really explore what it looks like and what can you do? Jane, I used to say before I was really awakened to how empowered we really are
Right.
in
Yeah.
experience. I used to say, what does it matter? I'm just one person. What does it matter if I
Right.
get
Yeah.
upset and I spew all this anger and I yell at the TV screen when the news comes on? What does it matter? And then I realized how much it really does matter.
It does. Yeah.
And I found out that everything that we do, say, think, it all goes out from us. It doesn't just stay contained in this vessel. And so it does affect other people. And it goes into what I call the collective soup of energy that's on our planet.
Right.
So if I'm radiating anger, let's say I'm really angry about something. I've been caught up in all the mainstream media and I see what's going on and I'm just so angry and I keep spewing that. I keep regurgitating that story. Isn't it horrible what happened?
Yeah.
All of that energy is going out there. It's not just staying with me or even me and one other person I'm talking to. It's really pervasive as it goes out into all of the energy and it lowers the vibration and the frequency
Right.
of the planet. Isn't
Right.
that interesting? And then you turn it around and you're radiating love and peace and joy and really bringing yourself to a good vibration. That's going out there and it's doing the opposite. It's raising the frequency of the.
Right. Right.
It really does matter what we do, say, think. It's amazing
Yeah.
how, just that alone can impact our world.
Mm-hmm.
What a realization, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it really, from what I'm understanding more and more now, it's probably one of the most important things we can do. And if
Yes.
that's all, if that's all a person can do, it's more than enough.
Yeah.
I want to pause a moment to welcome Charles Kunze, who says hi, and Babs, who also says hi. So welcome, everyone. This is wonderful to have you here. And I think you brought up a few really important points, I think. And I think that the way I look at the spiritual journey now is that it is a transformation in the way that we perceive ourselves, essentially, and then ending in love. And when we start, a lot of us doubt that we matter. In fact, I can remember Teri and I we both been around for a while, but I can remember in the 80s when I really started thinking about it, I thought, well, I don't matter. Nothing I do matters. But the opposite is true. We all have the creator within us in our hearts. There's that light in our hearts that is the creative energy, and we are creators because the creator resides in us. We matter. And each of us brings our own unique, you could say, recipe for love that we can be vibrating out into the world. And just simply doing that, and what it does for ourselves too. I mean, not to mention everything it does for the planet. It's good for your longevity, your health, your obviously spiritual awareness, all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it just, as you know, Teri, and probably most of the people here, my focus has been on love for decades. And I always wondered where that was going to lead me, but that's it. That's where it leads you. It leads you to experiences of love.
Yeah, because everything else is just in our head.
Right.
Love is that's what we are. We are love. And when we can stay in our hearts, this is what the angels had me work up as a mantra: stay in your heart and stay blessed, because that's where the blessing comes from, is that knowledge that we are loved and we are loved. And when we can stay in that vibration of love, the highest energy that exists, then yeah, we know who we are. We know that we matter. We know that we're important. And love, that's such a funny word, Jane. It has different connotations to different people. And a lot of people, when you say the word love, they think of, the worldly type of love, romantic or friendship or whatever. But when you really look at love and what is love,
maybe divine love. I'd like to
divine
distinguish
love.
it.
Yeah. Agape love, where you don't have an agenda, you just love.
Right.
And I encourage people to try that sometimes. Don't think about what you're going to get from it. Think about just giving from the heart without any expectation of anything happening or anything being returned to you. That's when the miracles happen. Is when we that place of just letting go, just giving and letting go.
Yeah. And you mentioned trust. That I think is that's a word that I've been focusing on in the last few days too. I have a, a throat condition right now. And just this morning, actually, in my meditation, it became clear to me that it was all about trust, and trust in my expression, and trust. It's really, that's all kind of at a personal level, but it is, that is a challenge for us, and it's a journey, I think, for you to, when you said you started on your road trip, kind of, and I think a lot of us we're kicking and fighting our way to really the best possible life for ourselves. It's hard to trust. It doesn't just come like, okay, I can completely trust in the divine now to guide me.
Right. Yeah, that was the challenge, actually, Jane.
Well, and it's a big one. You're leaving behind all of your what you consider to be your foundation and security and a lot of things, probably just a lot of sources of joy and many things.
Right. And how's this going to work? How is this going to work?
Exactly.
I no longer have a place called home. My home is on four wheels as I travel. And, and then there was other people's fears and concerns. I'm a single woman traveling around the country by myself. And so there was a lot of fear being thrown at me, which I did not accept. And I'm like, nope, they told me to go, I'm going to go.
Right.
And I know that I will be okay. And I knew that in my heart. That's part of the trust. But I had to trust that I was going to have, food. I was going to have the ability to put gas in the tank to move it down the road. And I was going to trust that wherever I went, people were going to understand and welcome what was being done in their community as far as bringing in the energy of peace. And I have to say, it's been an amazing journey. I've been to over 30 states.
Wow.
And I've done, I don't know the exact number now, but it's over 20 land blessings. And we planted a peace pole up in New York, sorry, Montauk, New York, and done water blessing. So it's just been an adventure as well as a blessing to give, to just serve as I travel around, and people invite me to a specific place, and I've been invited into other countries. I haven't ventured out yet, but I think that's going to happen soon. I've been asked to come to Canada, so that's a very easy drive to go into there. But yeah, it's just exciting, I think, to focus on something so positive that's going to be for the benefit of all. It's not just the place that I go into. That energy, as we were talking about, the energy, when you go in and you lift up a certain area, it pervades, it goes over the whole world, but especially in our country as we focus our energy there. Yeah, it makes a difference. And I've talked to several of the people that were involved where we did land blessings in their part of the world, and they tell me that it is different, that the
So
energy
what
feels
can you
different.
explain what a land blessing is?
Yeah. So,
Just for, most
so
of us
as I,
probably don't know. It sounds
sorry,
good.
I've just been doing it, so I think everybody knows what it is. So as I go into an area, the angels actually guide us to a specific place to hold a ritual. And it's so funny because they give certain signs. So as we are looking for that specific piece of land where we're going to do a land blessing, they show us like a peace sign. Sometimes it's a tree, you know how it splits up from the trunk and it goes in two different places, it's like a peace sign. So there's usually always an indication of this is the place that needs peace. So there's a peace sign, there's heart. I can't tell you how many heart-shaped rocks I have found along the way. or leaves, or whatever. They always give that sign. There's usually kids, some type of youth. If it's not human, then it might be a baby animal. It might be a baby sapling of a tree. I had that happen in Colorado. So there's always a sign that this is the spot. And then the angels guide to the very exact spot on the land to do it. So we clear a little of the dirt away and then place a crystal, because crystals hold such great energy. They come from the earth. The earth gives to us. So we're returning a crystal into the land, wherever it is. And then I call on the angels and ask them to carry the energy of that crystal as it continues to be there in that place to communicate underground with all the other crystals and rocks and roots of trees. And just there's this whole communication system that many people are not even aware of. And so what it's doing is it's connecting. So it's a connecting energy going through the land. And I've noticed it seems to be a pattern. I haven't graphed it out yet, but I think there's a grid that's being done throughout the land. And they're all communicating with each other to bring that energy forward. So we offer up an offering to the land. We say prayers. We sometimes sing, sometimes dance, whatever spirit moves us to do. And then the prayer is to bring peace to the land wherever we are in that particular place, and for it to spread out to the connecting places.
Wow. Yeah,
that's a land blessing.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the water blessing. Water is so important.
I was going to ask about water. I was thinking about it yesterday, and I thought, well, there's probably a reason. And it is when you realize how water holds energies and actually even changes its I don't know what you'd call it, its structure with different energies.
It does. You're familiar with Dr. Emoto?
Yes, of course.
And his experiments. So the more we talk positive into our water, the more that's carrying that energy wherever it touches. And we have to have water. So all of us are exposed to that energy of water. And if we can change it to a positive thing that's going into our bodies or washing our bodies or we're swimming in it or whatever, then it does make a difference. It does affect.
Oh, yeah. And anger, if you project anger into water, it also is really ugly. Yeah. I want to show everybody. This is the cup that I drink my tea out of. It says love, 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 love. And so I get to drink love with every sip. And you can put a little heart on a glass or just whatever, a sticker that says love on it. And it actually does change the structure of the water.
It really does. A lot of people like to just put Reiki energy into the water or whatever beverage you're drinking, coffee. That's me. But you just pour that Reiki energy in and it does change it because it's an energy movement that's happening with the water and the frequency.
Yeah. It's so wonderful. And it's interesting. You mentioned the land. Well, you all keep mentioning so many different things. One thing I did want to mention too kind of, I guess, dovetail on is when you were talking about worrying about being safe. Archangel Michael, I think, travels with probably most all of us, especially those of us who are light workers,
Yeah.
to keep us safe. And a lot of times I travel alone. Philip and I, my husband, both travel alone a lot. We're together most all the time, and we do travel together sometimes, but we travel alone too, because for me, at least, I believe all of us need that time with ourselves to really just be able to be in our own rhythm. And I think that strengthens it. Anyhow, just with Archangel Michael, he just so often tells me, well, I'm here. There's nothing to be concerned about.
That's it.
And
That's it.
when I hear that, and I know also, if I close my eyes like I did earlier, I can see all of those beings who are supporting us right now in this moment.
Yeah.
And they're here for all of us.
Yes, they are. Always.
Right.
They're always there. And all you have to do, you don't even have to know their name. Just know that they're there.
Right. Yeah.
There's an angel that will help with protection. There's an angel for healing.
Yeah, you could say angel. I really need an angel for blank, whatever it is now. And right. Yeah.
That's all it takes is that intention.
Yeah.
And I've connected with the angels my whole life, ever since I can remember. I remember talking to them and being comforted by them as I grew and then into adulthood. And then eventually they started using my voice to be a conduit to bring messages and share with the world what they wanted to say, and to let us know their presence. And going back to the traveling alone, so Archangel Michael has, it's called the shield of Archangel Michael. It's just this little protection energy that you can do over yourself or your car or money or whatever. And so that's with me always in my vehicle. And so every time I get in, I'm okay, Michael, we're going on a road trip, and just do the little symbol for the shield of Archangel Michael. And I don't even think about it anymore. I know I'm protected. And there's been many times where I have watched Michael push people away from me on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that you have to figure that must be happening all the time when you think about how asleep people are. Probably I'm envisioning that too, and I can't say I actually see it visually, but I can just see the angels. Now you stay over here and you stay over here.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the protection that they provide. And I've actually witnessed it, several times. Or what's been really big is like if I'm delayed. If there was one time, and I was in New Mexico again, I was leaving. I checked out of the hotel. I was ready to get on the road, and for some reason, I heard, "Just go back upstairs." I didn't have a room to get into, but it was a very unique hotel. Go upstairs and just look at the pictures that were on the wall. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to roll, but I'll do this. And there was an accident that happened right outside on the way. If I had left at the time that I was going to leave, I would have been probably involved in it or right there stuck in the accident.
Somehow. Yeah.
So they always are nudging us or guiding us. So if you feel that pull to either go or stop,
well, not time. Let's take a break now. That happened to Philip and me when we were driving one time. We stopped. I can still remember where we were in Southern California, and we decided to stop and get some kind of refreshment. I can't remember what we got, but we stopped, and 10 minutes later we went back on the road, and just like a quarter of a mile down the road from where we got off, there was a big accident while we were away.
Right. Yeah. So they always protect us, always. Sometimes we don't listen, and that's when people say, well, why do bad things happen? Well, if we're not paying attention and we're not focused in on, okay, guide me, help me, then we'll be right there in the middle of that accident or whatever it might be that's going on.
Right. Yeah, and I think when people have those experiences too, I used to just freak out. Like and I think I grew up in an alcoholic household. I don't know if that's part of it. Just like I feel like I have to take care of everything. If I see an accident or something, it used
Right.
to be I would just completely freak out. I wouldn't know what to do. And now I'm very calm, and I just know that this is happening in someone's life plan for a reason, and I just send love to it and honor their
Yeah.
journey, whatever it is.
Right.
And I remember one time Philip and I were driving down the road. We were actually on a trip together, and we were complaining with each other about something. Not each other, but just complaining. I can't even remember what we were complaining about, but I can feel the energy now. And so we were about an hour away from home, and this rock bounced down the road and hit right in the middle of our windshield. And I
Yeah.
knew right away, this wasn't what we wanted to be vibrating. Here we are, we're headed out on this
Right.
wonderful trip together, and we're complaining about something.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't like that. It
Right.
wasn't that important. I can't even remember what it was. And that has stayed with me, that we are drawing to us things that resonate with what we're vibrating. So,
Yes.
and I don't want to
Yeah. The
scare
law of
anybody.
attraction.
We're not, but it is something to be aware of, that if we allow that, if we allow ourselves to kind of go wallow in the mud, kind of that's what I call it, we're going to attract more of that mud into our reality.
Yeah. It's the manifestation,
Right.
because whatever we are focused on, that's what we're going to get more of. So just like you were focused on complaining about something, then okay, here's more for you to complain about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, when we focus on the good stuff, that's what we get back in return. Is more love, more light,
Mm-hmm.
just like this
Yeah.
circle of love light.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole idea. I think also we do this on Sunday for the reason that this is energy that we can intentionally bring into the week ahead,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it is by grounding it in our reality more and focusing on it and intending to hold on to that, we're benefiting ourselves, and as you mentioned in the beginning, it's good for everyone and everything. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
something
And
that I've been doing more recently also is I imagine, um, well, it started with, I have this card deck. I'll show you. I still love it. It's called the Inner Child Cards. It's actually a tarot
oh,
deck, and it's all with
yeah.
fairy tale stories, which I used to, well, I've never related well to Greek myths and that kind of thing. It just apparently is
Mhm.
not in my somehow in the way I'm made. And
Yeah.
when I got the Inner Child cards, I love that because I could understand those cards. And so
Right.
what I'm thinking of now is the Jack and the Beanstalk. This is one that I use a lot. And imagine that you plant the seed and you're rising up the beanstalk and you go through the clouds. And the way I envision that is you're going through that veil. In other words, the veil that
Yeah.
separates humanity from the infinite, so that you're on the
Right.
infinite side and you're no longer exposed to the mass consciousness energy. Because right now, when we're on the planet, we're being exposed to it, and we're actually,
Yeah.
that's why it requires more of our attention to be in a different space.
Mhm.
But I go up there, and one time I went up there, and I generally have someplace in mind to go to, and I was on my way there, and I was up there just looking at all the stars in the universe, and this being showed up. I don't know if you've worked with him, Commander Ashtar.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and he's,
Very much.
yeah,
Yeah.
very, and he was there and told me, that he was here to help us, which he is. He's a more of a universal kind of a being, not from
Right.
planet Earth itself, but he's here to help us to become good neighbor planet, good neighbor planet, you could say, and
Yeah.
just to be more
Right.
in harmony with the universe, and just
Mhm.
imagining going up there and surrounding yourself with the stars and being free.
Yeah.
We can with our intention be free of that influence when we're here. And that's where breathing can help us. We can do things that will help us to stay in the space, more of that kind of free space
Yeah.
in our daily lives. That's one of the things I try to focus on.
Mhm. Yeah, the more we can stay calm, because when you look into the energy of this planet, we are spinning. The planet itself is spinning. And sometimes when we're not in a good place, we feel that spin more than any other time. So if you find yourself just like, I call it getting into the spin, the chaos, the
Right.
going down that rabbit hole of, what could go wrong,
Yeah.
then
Of
just stop.
division and polarity. Right.
Yeah. The illusion of the separation, just stop. And my friend Karen Palmer, she uses acronyms a lot, and she says stop is spirit take over, please. So
I
you
like
just
that. Oh, that's
I
great.
do too. And
Yeah.
I
And
liken
breathe.
it
Just
to the
breathe.
fact that breathe. Yeah, it's like we're watching this movie of our lives, right? When you step back and you become the observer of what's going on, you can
Right.
hit the pause button on a movie. So you just hit the pause button, stop, spirit take over, please. And then you
I
say,
love that.
what
I'm
am
going to
I
write that
thinking?
down.
Yeah. So the
Because the
second one
things
is
we tell
wait.
ourselves are they're so
Yeah,
important.
right. Yeah. So wait is what am I thinking? So as you stop and pause, then you just look at the situation. What am I thinking? What's going on here? Am I
Yeah.
in my head and envisioning the worst possible outcome? Can I get back to my heart? Can I do the breath?
Mm-hmm.
Take a
Right.
breath in and connect in to the heart and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I was out for a minute. Okay. I ventured out to that dark place, and
Yeah.
now I'm coming
Which
back
we
to the
all do.
light. We all do. And
Right.
it's nothing to feel guilty about or feel
No.
bad about.
Right.
It's happened. We're human.
Right.
We're here having this human experience. But when we can just take that pause, that's what I teach everyone. Take the
Yeah. I
pause
love those. Yeah.
and say, okay, let me breathe. Let me be calm. My coffee has arrived.
Oh, lucky.
Thank you. Can you have my books? Right here. Thank you.
Yeah, those are priceless. Both of them. Stop and wait.
Stop and wait.
I like both of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both really great. They're very expressive of the change that we're wanting to make. I love that. So,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just about time for the meditation. Are you ready
Okay.
for this is a surprise for us all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, what I would like to do, I have this brand new book that's called The Tiny Book of Angel Messages. And I encourage people, if they get this book, to just open it and see what message pops out. And then we'll do a meditation from there. So I'm just going to open it. I don't have this plan, just opening a page, seeing what pops out for us. Oh, encourage others to focus on growth, which means you are progressing forward rather than falling backward. Remember that all your subconscious minds are in contact with each other. That's what they want us to know, and what they want us
that's
to focus
beautiful.
on right now is that
Now
we are all.
that's nice, like an oracle using that little book
Yeah. So
to,
how
yeah.
this came about, I can actually thank Dr. Ruth Anderson of Enlightened World Network for her envision of this. I did publish a book that has 365 longer messages for us from last year. That one was written every night, and then the angel said, put it in a book, which I did. And her inspired thought as we were in a bookstore was, okay, pull a thought from each one. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's called the tiny book. It is little. It's one you can throw in your purse or backpack or
Mm-hmm.
your
Yeah, which makes
bedstand.
it good for everybody because
And it has
you
bullet
can't use
points.
time as an excuse. It's just easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has bullet points from every one of those messages, all
Wow.
365 of them.
Yeah, I'll
So
have to get
and
that
the
one too.
way I feel that what the angels are showing me is how it's going to work is if you need to hear a message, you just need something right in that moment, You just open it, and whatever pops off the page at you, it's like, pay
That's it.
attention, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where they're guiding you to. Pay
Right.
attention to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's
So
really, I don't want to delay this too much, but I think this is a real key point to any message that you're reading. Parts of it may not relate at all. And then you think, well, that's not it for me. Just watch. It might just be a single word. It might be a phrase. Just watch for what's there for you, and you'll know. You have to be in that loving place, connected with your truth. And then it's like,
yes.
oh, I get it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's so amazing.
So yeah. So what I got from that message is that we're all to just focus on the oneness, focus that we are all connected in together, because we are
Mm-hmm.
all one, having this
Right.
experience. Each of our unique experiences adds to the collective experience of the whole. And, we're either like going upward, or we're going downward in our energy, as we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier. And then the
Right.
collective is what brings it and pulls it upward for us.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into our hearts. I like to always
I like
start with
that.
the breath, as you do, Jane.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can safely close your eyes wherever you may be, and just follow the breath and follow the sound of my voice. Just slow down, as we were saying, just stop, take that pause, and just with your breath, I want you to envision it as coming from a higher plane, a higher frequency, and coming right into your lungs and then flowing into your heart center. So just breathe it in, fill your lungs, and then with the out breath, just let go. Just start to release anything that's maybe kind of hectic, part of that spin of your day, your to-do list, anything you're working on or distracted by. Just release that out with the out breath. And then as you take the next breath in, just see a channel of light that's flowing between you and the Creator. However you envision the Creator to be. I call it God. I know some people have a problem with that word, but just envision this highest being that is sending love straight to your heart. What an honor that is to be connected into that energy. And as you keep breathing in that love, breathing out and releasing anything else, let's call in the angels to surround us. I like to call them from the directions. So I'm calling on the east, Angel Raphael, our healer angel. Raphael comes in with that beautiful energy of air, which we are taking in air into our lungs. So let's envision as he comes among us, if you just feel a breeze or you feel a shift in the air as you breathe it in, that's Raphael. And Raphael oversees any healing. So if there's something going on inside of you right now, just allow Raphael to pinpoint what it is that's needed. It may be something physical, it might be emotional or mental or spiritual. Raphael is able to just take whatever it is that you want to release and just touch it and shift the energy of it. And then we go to the south, Archangel Michael. Michael is our guardian angel, and Michael brings in the energy of fire. Fire consumes anything you give it instantly. Michael will take whatever it is that's a burden for you. So just envision if there's something that you're ready to let go of, maybe during this time together, this short span of time, you're able to release it fully. Just turn it over to Michael. And then let's go to the west. Our wonderful Archangel Gabriel. Gabriel is our messenger angel, the one that brings out the very exact thing that we need, just like turning to a page in a book and having those words pop out at us. Gabriel is the one that guides all of that. And Gabriel comes in with the energy of water. So if there's a water you can envision, a lake, an ocean, maybe even just the water you drink or shower under, just focus on water for a moment and see if Gabriel will clear away whatever it is that's muddying your thoughts, whatever is just concerning to you. Let him help you to find that answer just by coming in and shifting that vision for you. From the north, Archangel Uriel, and Uriel comes in with the energy of earth and helps us to ground. So that's what we're going to do right now is as you're kicked, I want you to see it going down now. Go down through the solar plexus, the sacral, your root chakra, going down your legs, out the bottom of your feet, and deep into Mama Gaia, our beautiful planet that we're standing on or sitting or lying on. Just see that flowing down to the very core of Earth. And it's a crystalline core. So as you get in there with your energy, just set your intention. I'm going to find whatever I need here in this core of Earth to help to guide me, to help strengthen me, and to definitely center and balance my energy. So you might find a crystal there that you can relate to. Maybe it's the rose quartz. Maybe you need more love and surrounding of love. Or maybe it's protection. You're feeling a little unstable and you need something to bring you back to balance. Some of the darker stones like hematite, shungite, tourmaline, whatever it is, it will be the perfect one for you. So just envision you're touching that stone, whatever it is, that's yours, and just hold on to that energy for a moment. Just feel the energy of it coming into you, into your hands, and then back up from earth through the bottom of your feet. Feel your root chakra now, sturdy and strong as it stands on the earth. And then breathe it back up through the chakras, through your sacral and your solar plexus. And let's anchor it into the heart. Let it sit there. Whatever it was that you were needing when you went down into the earth, just let it sit in your heart. I'm just sensing a lot of people reaching out for love. So just hold that energy of love. And as you breathe into your lungs, just see the color pink. Just let that pink energy flow into you, right into where you anchored that earth energy into your heart. Just enjoy that love. And now let's do just a little visualization as you're sitting in that energy. Just visualize that there's a mountain in front of you. With each breath you take, you let it be the wind beneath your wings as you rise higher. Just focus on love. Say to yourself, I am so loved. And with each realization of how loved you are, raise higher and higher. And as you look at that beautiful mountain in front of you, as you raise up, you see with a different perspective. And as you get closer to the top of the mountain, you're able to see all the way around eyes, see things in a way you've never seen them before, through the eyes of love. So whatever you envisioned as being a problem as you were looking at it from below, look at it now with the eyes of love and say, I love that. Whatever it might be, if there's something you're not happy about, maybe it's something material like a vehicle or your house or the town that you live in, maybe there's some strife there. Just look at it with the eyes of love and say, I love that. I love that house. I love those people in that town. They're all beautiful souls. They're all a part of me as I look at them. And then look at a place in the world where there's a lot of strife. We have many places where there's discontent, there's fighting, there's just a pervasive energy that's holding that area down. Let's focus love in that area. And just say, I love this part of the world. It might be a country, it might be some continent even, or it might be a turbulence that's happening in the world, like the earthquakes or volcanoes erupting. Just send love to it. I love this energy that's here. The more we can send love, the more we are healing our planet. So as you look around 360 degrees around you, what comes to your attention to focus on? What do you see that you could lift up? Maybe there's a wildfire somewhere. Just send love into it. The whole idea is to calm the energy. And the more you come from that place deep in your heart, you will feel the calm. And that's what will go out from you. And the more of us that do it together, it makes an impact in our world. We are changing the world. So breathe it in, keep breathing in the love, that beautiful pink energy of love, and send that pink energy out over your world, wherever you are, as you sit on that mountaintop. And now just ask one question as you're sitting there. What do I need to know? What do I need to know that will help me go from this place I'm in, which is so serene, so beautiful, sitting on this mountaintop? What do I need to know as I go daily into my environment where I live, as I interact with other people, either in my own home or at work or out in the community? How can I take this energy forward? How can I touch lives with just this energy that I'm aware of now that makes a difference in the world? How can I share that with others? And one way we can do that is with a smile. Just smile at people. Maybe there's someone that's very close to you that you're living with even, and they don't see a smile. Just start being aware and sharing your energy with everyone, and that includes those that are close to you. Said, this is how you it's a step down off that mountaintop, coming back down to where you are, very slowly realizing the room you're in, what's going on, the sounds, the smells, moving your fingers, moving your toes, coming back to where you are, back to the sound of my voice. changed. Because anytime we have an experience, a mountaintop experience especially, we're going to be changed. We're going to have received something in that moment that we can take forward. We can learn from every experience we have, whether we're sitting in meditation or we're consciously aware of what's going on around us. We learn, we grow. And this is one way that we can grow together and make a difference in our world. What would it look like to you to have a world that works for every one of us? A world where there's less strife, where there's more love. You can do that. So coming back now fully into the room, opening your eyes, seeing the beautiful surrounding where you are. And do you feel different? Does it feel different to have opened up to love today on the top of that mountain? Jane, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually. I sent a little energy to my sore throat, and it's interesting. In journeys that I've made into the higher realms, I've been in places where I'm there, and all I can think is, oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. It's just like, it just is. I think it's the love just emanating out of me. And that's what I felt at the end. I'm so grateful for all of this. And it's interesting because if we pay attention to the news and what people say is happening on the world, it's easy to get frustrated and get your energy, it's like you're nailing yourself into the ground. That's a choice.
Yes,
we have a choice where we want to place our attention. And as you may know, Teri, I don't know if you're aware, we use the mountaintop a lot ourselves. It's one of the things that we do. I do it almost every time I have a client. We go up to the mountaintop. Well, why not go up to the mountaintop?
I did not know that.
Yeah, we do. We've used it a lot over the years, and I think it is such a simple thing. And there are reasons for it. If you imagine rising up, even like the Jack and the Beanstalk, if you rise up the beanstalk and you go through the cloud up into the ethers, where the energy is so much clearer, it raises your state just to imagine rising up.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And then the panoramic view, and of course you've got one behind you there. If you're looking out into the distance, it affects your brain. It expands the way your mind views things. And I think all of us from this place, we can just be more aware of all the blessings that are here for us.
Absolutely. This is Lake Michigan behind me. I took this picture
interesting.
at sunset. It's like sending that love is the most important thing we can do, because sometimes we regurgitate the event and we keep the energy of that event going. Let's just stop that. Let's use the stop and pause and say, no, send love into it. I'm going to see it changing and shifting with the energy of love. And that's why I say, no matter what you're aware of things that are going on, don't just keep saying, oh, that was so horrible, or, talking about the energy of the actual event that happened. Instead, how can we shift it? How can we shift that energy of it? And we do it through love.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. That's the thing. The craziness of all of it is that the solution, we wrote a little book recently called The Solution. It's like, it's the solution. Whatever is happening, switch to love, and I, as people who know me know also, I generally wear something that has hearts on it during the day. And it doesn't hurt to have little reminders. And every time I look at myself in the mirror, or I straighten it out, I love this one because it has rainbows too. Do you like Archangel Raziel, the rainbow?
Oh, Raziel is a funny angel. He really is hilarious. The more you work with him, the more you'll find
so joyful. Yes, very, very joyful. Yeah, you could just ask for, blessings of that rainbow light when
Yeah.
you're breathing. There's just so much you can do. The blessings are,
Yeah.
well, it's just like I think of it, I do feel like, oh, I'm so grateful. This is
Yeah.
so amazing.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that word up, because gratitude is right up there with love in the frequency. So
Right.
the more gratitude you give out, and it's so simple just to say, I'm grateful for you. I started years ago, I started this movement called Gratitude Base, where every day you put a name in a vase and say, I'm grateful for this person.
That's
We think
interesting. Oh,
about
that's a
things,
good
but what
idea.
about people? And so
Mm-hmm.
every day this year, I started back up. So as of January 1st of this year, every day I would pick a person and say, I'm grateful for you. And
Mm-hmm.
let them know that, because it raises their frequency as well. And so every
Right.
day,
Yeah.
going to be somebody that receives a message of love through just
Yeah,
that
that's
simple
wonderful.
message. I'm grateful for you.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
Getting lots of practical tips here. That's great. Yeah, thank you. And we're coming towards so quickly towards the top of the hour.
I see that.
I want to mention, which I often do, is this is the time in the circle because we've collected all of this love. and Teri already did it. I have a little planet. I just told the planet, and
Yeah.
I'm so grateful, and I just love everything about the planet. And I'm so grateful also to Mother Earth, Mama Gaia, as you say.
Mhm.
And that's another interesting. When I send love to her, I feel this big upflow of love to me every time. And
Mhm.
there are just so many things, so many blessings for us. It's just that we have to choose them.
It is a choice.
Yeah,
We make
they're
that
not going
choice
to
every
tell you
day.
on the news, here's a
Yeah.
tip.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what the Circle and Enlightened World Network, it also, just as a
Yeah.
note, is for. We're so grateful to be part of Enlightened World Network and to have met you there. And I'm grateful that you were here today.
Thank you. I'm grateful for this opportunity,
Oh,
Jane.
thanks. Yeah. So I wanted to ask, as we close, would you like to share more about, well, how people can find out about your new books and
Yeah.
whatever you want to share about connecting with you? I
Yes.
know you
And
can, people can find you on Enlightened World Network most every
yeah.
day, probably.
Yes. Morning and night.
Wow, that's amazing.
um, yeah, I'm always on there. But if you wanted to reach out to me, I have an email. It's just very simple. Teri, Teri at angelspeakers.com. And every night last year in 2022, the angels gave me a message, and I didn't know it until the end of the year. They go, okay, now you're going to put it in a book form. Oh, hey, thanks, guys, for the heads up.
Right.
So the book is called Midnight Calls with the Angels. And the cover is actually a picture from Sedona that I
Well,
took
yeah,
when
it's
I
very
was
beautiful.
there for the first time. But in the book, like I said, there's 365 messages. They're in alphabetical order, or if there's an index in the back, if one of them catches your attention and says you need to read that, then you can go
Hmm.
find it very easily in the book. So you might open up to a message that says, laughter is the best medicine. And there's also in this book resources. So if you're dealing with something and you read information, you read what the angels have to say about it, there may also be further information. So if there's addiction, if there's abuse, grief, whatever it might be, then they had me include that as resources in the back of the book. Then the companion book to it is the tiny book of
Yeah,
angel
I want to get that one.
messages.
I have the first one. I want
Yeah,
that one.
big thoughts for daily living. Well, Amazon has not treated me nicely as far as trying to get this book printed. I've been
Oh,
trying for 2 weeks to get it printed.
hmm.
They always find something wrong. Either the words are going off the edge too far, or
Yeah, I
something.
know.
So
Technicalities are, yeah.
I'm hoping that today's going to be the day they say, okay, we can release it now to the world. Um, so that's my prayer. And if everybody could get behind that with me, we'll get this book out to the masses, because I feel like this little book is going to make such an impact in a lot of lives.
Mhm.
Somebody that might not sit and read the whole blog in the big book, they might just see that one little blurb, like what I read earlier before the
Yeah, I
meditation,
love that. Right.
and it might just
yeah.
touch a thought and go take you to a further thought.
Mm-hmm.
And those are both, well, the big book, the Midnight Calls, is on Amazon, and you can it's the only book by that name. So when you go on there, if you just search for Midnight Calls with the Angels, you'll find it. And it is in both paperback and Kindle version. And it will be an audio book as well. And Dr. Ruth Anderson of Enlightened World is going to help me with that. She's going to be the voice of the angels giving their
how
response, as
interesting.
because it's like a conversation.
Mhm.
So as I bring up something and ask about it, then the angels have a response. So I'll be recording my part where I ask the question or do the pondering, and then she will be the voice of the angels, which is perfect.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
we will get that together and let everybody
Wonderful.
know when the audio is available for this
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's so wonderful. And I forgot to mention Sharon Williamson said beautiful to the meditation. I think
Oh,
probably everyone here thought it was beautiful.
thank you.
I do want to briefly mention our book, The Solution. It's The Solution: Make a Difference and Change the World with the Power of Love, which really is just about what it is about it that's so wonderful. And we wrote it, it's free, actually. We have it out there. We wrote it so that people can share it with people who may not read something like this. And we don't go into the more spiritual aspects. We don't talk about angels or any of the things that might put people off. It's pretty, I think, just pretty simple reading. And you can find it. We have a tiny URL for it, tinyurl.com/444 solution. So it's tinyurl.com/ and it's the number 4 3 times, which is, the angels and all the beings of love are with you, dash solution. So
I want to get that, but did you know that this book, Midnight Calls with the Angels, is 444 pages?
oh, wow. Yeah, interesting. Oh, we're on the same page there.
Oh, yeah.
And one final thing, to support the circle, you can like our page, follow our page. We'd really appreciate it. Same with Enlightened World Network. Share this video with your friends on Facebook and invite your friends to join you in the circle. I think it's uplifting for everybody who does it. So, and also the last thing, send all that love out to the week ahead. Just imagine it flowing forward through the future into the entire week and beyond if you want. And please have a wonderful week. And thanks again, Teri, for being with us.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone.